What's up? What's up? Happy Friday, y'all. I was kind of surprised we got to Friday so fast this week, or at least for me, it felt like it was fast. I hope it was fast for y'all. But anyway, yeah, so I am here today. I'm feeling like this 12:30 Friday slot might be a good fit for me with my work schedule. So, I'm just trying to get on here and just speak to you guys. So, like I said, if I change the schedule up a little bit, I'll try to give you a heads up. But I think I'm gonna stick with this Friday 12:30 time slot. Looks good, feels good right now. Hello, Sue 94 grad. And anybody that's coming in, welcome to my page. I'm Anjanika Brooks, and today I'm going to be talking about forgiveness. I'm going to jump right into it because I don't want to waste time and try not to go too long with it. So I did a bunch of reels on forgiveness this week, and I wanted to kind of wrap up like what my line of thinking was on it. All of it starts with my book, and if you haven't seen the book, this is it. Unmothered, A Daughter's Guide to Acceptance, Healing, and Renewal. And so in the book, I talk about forgiveness being one of the ways that you can help yourself to heal, help yourself to move forward if you have experienced trauma from a mother-daughter relationship, and especially if your mother has passed away and you are stuck in the grieving phase and you just really don't know, like where all these emotions are coming from and what to do with them. So that's what I talk about in my book, and I have 9 steps to healing, and one of them is forgiveness. So I have my glasses on today, so I'm looking over here at my notes so I can see. So I think that there are levels to forgiveness. And I'm going to break that down for you just to tell you what I mean, what I think. I am not a therapist. I am not certified in any way. I'm just a person that has lived this life, and this is my truth. So just want to let you know that. So there are 2 types of forgiveness, and we talked about this week forgiving yourself and forgiving others. So let's talk about forgiving others so I can kind of explain to you what I mean by there are levels to it. So sometimes you're asked to forgive, or the question may come up as to whether you're going to forgive someone when they've done something. And that person could be a close, relative. It could be a spouse, a friend. And what they've done is something that you would like to move past. You think you will. It might take you some time. You want to, and you're kind of in that phase of considering, what to do and how to do it. And it could be that whatever they did, it was something small. I think I used the example like maybe they lost something of yours. Maybe they broke something. It could be many different reasons. But it might be a relationship that you have where you know that you need to get past it. You probably know you're going to reconcile with that person at some point. And so you decide, I am going to wipe the slate clean with you. I'm going to let it go, and we're going to carry on. So that to me is one level, and that level is reserved for certain people, certain instances, and you get to decide when you want to be on that level, when and how you want to use that level, and with whom. So that's totally up to you, but I just want to say that is a type of forgiveness where you can totally say, I am going to let it go. Now, you may never forget it, because we can't erase our brains, but you decide, let's move on. Okay, I forgive you. Then there's another level with people that may have caused you trauma or harm. And it can also be someone that's been very close to you, and you never imagined something like this could happen. It could be a perfect stranger. It could be a friend, and they do, the ultimate betrayal. It could be anything. And so on this level of forgiveness, it may be something that's so traumatic, so difficult, so hard that you know you're not going to reconcile with that person. And that is okay. So I like to call that kind of forgiveness. I mean, we probably should give it another name if we're just being honest, and call it can't change what happened in the past, so now what? Instead of trying to say it's forgiveness, maybe we call it can't change what happened in the past. Now what do we do? So when those types of things happen and you know you can't change it, you know it was traumatic, you know you're not going to reconcile, that is okay. So that's where we would focus on release. And I mean, we call it forgiveness, but I feel like it's really more of a release in I'm letting go of the feelings that surround this particular event, this betrayal, this, whatever happened, this argument, this fight. I have to release it. And the way you want to kind of look at it is, no, you can't change what happened. And so the more you go around it, it really doesn't hurt the other person. It hurts you. It keeps you from moving forward. It holds you hostage. And the other person is off scot-free. They may never apologize. They may never come to terms with what they've done. And so you're sitting there thinking, you want revenge maybe. Thinking, how can I get back at them? They should pay. And in many instances, that's true. I mean, and I went through some traumatic things in my life myself, not just with my mother. And so there are times where you feel like, it's on sight. You see that person and you want to get into it with them. But we can't always do that if we want to heal, right? So even if you dislike their ways, even if you don't like who they are, that type of forgiveness is where you would release what happened so that you can move on. And that is why forgiveness is for you and it's not for that person. It's not saying that you okay how they are. You have said okay to how they treated you. I mean, I know that you feel like they got the best of you, right? And sometimes they do. But just because someone got the best of you doesn't mean they're better than you. And so we have to realize that sometimes we are going to have a loss in that area where we weren't able to protect ourselves, we weren't able to fight back, or they just hurt us to the core, we weren't able to get them back, and it is time to move on. And one of the reasons we want to move on is because forgiveness is powerful for us, but also holding on to whatever happened is dangerous for us. If we seek revenge, it can take us into a whole different arena where we have to heal from whatever our actions are. So, if you get back at the person, you may do something that you regret and you don't want to be there. And just like trying to change someone is not our job, it's not our job to change anyone, it's also not really our job to pay them back. It's not really our job to see what happens to them. If you believe in God, then I say that that's God's job. God is going to repay all. If you don't believe in God, then it's the universe. It's life. It's karma. But you have to trust that getting them back and seeking revenge and making sure they pay doesn't fall on you. That it's outside of your hands. And when you realize that, you understand that it is okay for you to release them, even if they've done something heinous, something wrong. And I know this is a very deep, heavy talk on forgiveness, but I'm just trying to be real and just tell you what I know from experience. That, if you stay in the phase or in the mode of, I want to get them back, I'm never going to let this go, I'm never going to forgive them, it will do harm to you. And I'll talk about the kind of harm that it can do to you in a minute. But so that's the first type of forgiveness, forgiving others. And there are two levels to it. The people that you will reconcile with, that you'll wipe the slate clean with. And then there are the people that you won't ever speak to again. There are the people that, or if you speak to them, you keep it on the surface. The people that you won't let in again because you're not willing to risk being hurt. The people that you have to stay away from them because seeing them again is very traumatic for you and keeps you from moving forward. And so that's why you put them in the box of I've released the incident and I myself am taking care of me and moving forward. And I'm going to let God do it. Whatever I feel like needs to be done, I'm going to let it happen however it happens to that person. Even if they never apologize, I'm moving on from it. And then the second part of forgiveness. The second part of forgiveness is forgiving yourself. Now, as difficult as it is to forgive other people for things they've done, I feel like it's harder to forgive yourself. That's my personal opinion. Why do I think that? I think that it's harder to forgive yourself because we know ourselves. We have to be in this body, and so the spiritual, the mental, the physical all comes together in one. So you can't walk away from yourself. You can't not do it in a healthy way. You can't walk away from yourself. You can't disown yourself. You have your thoughts. They're still there. You still have those memories. And if you know that it's something that you shouldn't have done or that you meant to do or however it happened, then you are kind of stuck with it because it's in your head and they were your own actions. And so, like we can not see somebody and it's kind of like out of sight, out of mind. You can't do that when you wake up every day and look at yourself in the mirror, can you? No. So whether you're thinking about it all the time, subconsciously, sometimes it's still with you, like whatever harm you think you caused to yourself. But just because forgiving yourself is hard doesn't mean it's not important. It is the most important act that you can do. I think it's even above forgiving others, which is why it's so difficult. But it's important that you do it because you have to give yourself grace to grow. You have to give yourself time to learn. You have to say it's okay so that you can learn to take the next step. If you don't forgive yourself, that fear of falling again, that fear of getting hurt again will lock everything in your life. And it will look like you're okay, but you don't know. And there'll be some things that you can't fully do. And it could be because you haven't released and forgiven yourself from something that you did in the past. And so I say that forgiving yourself is the ultimate show of love. It really is. It's self-love. Because God forgives us. If you believe in God, you know that we're forgiven for sins on the daily. All right? And so you need to provide that to yourself. It doesn't mean go out there and act a fool and do whatever you want to people and act crazy. And it doesn't mean, to keep doing things repeatedly and saying, okay, I'm sorry. But you keep doing them repeatedly and experiencing the same result. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when you know something happened and you weren't able to stop it. You weren't able to control it. Or when you were too young. Or when you were old enough and you knew that was the wrong decision and you did it anyway. You still got to let yourself go. You have to forgive yourself in order to basically see the next day. You can't stay in that loop. And so it's important to do that. And I think that's how it jumpstarts healing, because then you say, okay, that was who I was then, or that was what I had to do then, or that was the decision I made then when I couldn't necessarily do much better. Or that was the person I needed to be then so that I could survive and be the person that I am now. So when it's something in your past, you definitely need to address it. Now, you may do that in therapy. That's a good place to start. Therapy doesn't always work for everyone. You may journal. You may talk to a confidant about something that happened to you or that you did to yourself or you did, whenever, wherever. But you somehow need to come to terms with it so that you can say, I still love myself. I know that I'm not perfect. I don't expect to be perfect. I'm going to make mistakes on this journey. Everybody is. And because I know that, I'm giving myself some grace and I'm saying, it's all right. I'm going to try again tomorrow. I'm going to try the next week. I'm going to try to just keep coming back and being better. And that is all that you can do. And so here's one other thing I want to leave about forgiveness. When it comes to people that are close to you, you're not going to always be able to reconcile. We talked about that. But you also need to think about, what if you did something to someone? What if you somehow, hurt somebody? Would you want to be forgiven? Would you want a person close to you to know that you didn't mean it? Or even if you meant it when you said it, that it wasn't the right thing to say or do. Would you want that? And so when you think about it on that level, that if you would want forgiveness for yourself, then maybe it helps you to understand that release and that moving on. You get to decide which level of forgiveness you want to use with whom you want to use it. No one can tell you you have to forgive somebody. No one can make you. and no one can tell you what that looks like when you do it. So for you, you get to decide how you're going to use it. You just have to know in all instances, it's progress and it is powerful when it comes to your healing, because it sets you up for what your next level will be, and it closes the door on those things that you want to move on from, those things that you want to say, I survived, I'm still okay. So it's closure so that you can go to your next level. That's how I see it. Now, last thing I'm going to say is the best reason that I've seen to forgive somebody really doesn't have to do with your belief system or anything like that. It has to do with an article that I found when I was writing my book, and I'm going to tell you the name of it. The article I found was from Johns Hopkins Medicine, and it's called Forgiveness, Your Health Depends on It. So when I was doing research about forgiveness, I had heard that when you don't forgive, it can basically almost be like poison to your system. I had seen somebody, I don't know, it looked like an old spiritual teacher, and he was talking about this, and I was like, poison? How could forgiveness be like poison? So I started doing research. And one of the shortest little articles I found was by Johns Hopkins Medicine, and it talked about the physiological effects of not forgiving. And it is, it's not that deep. It's basically like your heart rate goes up because you stay in fight or flight mode. Your blood pressure can increase. It can cause immune responses, like, you're more susceptible to other illnesses. You can become more susceptible to things like depression, high blood pressure, diabetes, other things that they found links to when you harbor, these emotions. And so I would say one of the best reasons to try to get to forgiveness is because of that. Because it can basically be risking your life. And that's what the article was saying, is that if you stay stuck in that loop, it does those things to you. Now imagine being stuck in that loop with multiple people, or because of multiple instances or multiple things that happen. And then you can begin to see how it weighs on your health. And so that's all I'm going to say about that. I feel like forgiveness is such a complex topic, and it is triggering for some people. It is very upsetting for people when they feel like you're telling them what they have to do. And I would never do that. I'm not here to tell anybody what they need to do, because it took me so long to get to forgiveness, and especially when it came to my mother. And even though I loved her deep down, some of the things that she didn't do, or some of the things she said, were very hard to get over. And it took to being on her deathbed and me being beside her to kind of understand the whole lesson of forgiveness. So that's where I'm coming from today. And I know it's not a Happy Friday subject, but I just think because I focus on healing that this is something I have to do. So I'm not, like I said, certified, not a therapist. I am not anybody except myself, a person that's lived, been through some traumatic things, as of many of us have, and I'm trying to help somebody else. So that's my talk today. If you guys have any questions for me, you can DM me, or you can leave a comment to this video. You can go to my website. If you want to talk more, or you want me to listen to some of the things that are on your mind, I have a scheduling tab on my website, and you can schedule some time with me if that works. But I'm here. So this is what I do. This is what the page is for. It's for us to try to heal and move forward and to be the best that we can possibly be, because I think we deserve all the good things in life. And doesn't mean it's not going to come with bad things. It just means that we're just going to have to learn to get up and keep coming. So because we deserve it, I'm here to support it. So thank you guys for joining me today and hanging out. Leave me a note. If you catch the replay, let me know. And if this helps you, or like I said, you have questions, DM me. So that's my talk, guys. And I hope you have a very good Friday and an excellent weekend. Bye.